February 28th, 2012. Working on my backhoe. The wheel locked up on the right side. Wasn't real sure what was going on. So I'll show you what we started getting into here. First we have the rear end, which was mounted here. Both bolts. Here's the bracket. We took that bracket, took the bolts out, lowered the rear end down, actually blocked it up underneath, blocked it, unbolted it, and then lift the machine back up with the outriggers. The outriggers lifted it quite well. You just have to be careful when doing that. There's a couple lines throughout. They're all flexible enough to allow it to drop. You just don't want to drop it too much. As you see, we just dropped it enough to be able to get to the bolts. I'll show you on the other side. We obviously took the wheels off. This is the machine here. It's an 89 case, 580K. Real good machine. High hours, real high hours. But you don't need to spend a lot of money to get the same effect. As you can see, both outriggers are out. There's the tire. Here's the other two holes where we had to remove the bolts here and here in order to allow that to come down. Over here you can see I've already unbolted the axle from the housing and slid it out. When lowering it down, I had to disconnect the linkage because the linkage knocks it into gear when you're lifting the machine back up, which the rear end stays down when the machine goes up. It's kind of like lowering it. But you got to remove the linkage so it doesn't pop it out of gear, because it won't start back up to lower it. Also, I removed the pin from this linkage that puts it in and out of gear. Right there. There's a pin. There's the pin. That's the only thing I removed. I removed that pin, and it allowed it to stay running. Well, restart actually. But anyhow, I was going down the road. I just gone down a steep hill, and I was in fourth gear on the level when the right wheel locked up. There was plenty of oil in there. There was no real signs. Like I said, it's old. The machine's old. You can see the parts that came out whenever I tore that apart. There's high hours, a lot of hours on the machine. The hour meter quit at 7,000, so we can just guess. As you can see here, the ring is broken. It's actually doubled over here, which really put it on a wedge. You can see that other gear in the back, part of the ring gear. The planetaries are this is all planetary, pretty well shot. You can see the crack in the case there, and another crack right there. So it's probably not a good idea to weld those. That ring should be pressed in there, so that may have spread the case just enough to allow it to not press in tight. If it's loose, it's going to end up doing the same thing. This they call the sun shaft, or technical words, not real sure. But this is the engages it in and out of being pausy versus one legger. I'm not sure the technical term on that either, but This will all come new. I'll just buy it all new. This is the brake disc. This is the brake ring. It's not bad, but it got chewed up and it's got some nicks and gouges in it, so we'll be replacing that also. We're gonna see what we can do, get the new parts so we can get it back together here and get back to digging. It's not a whole lot on YouTube showing you any of this work, but as I just showed you, it's just time. I probably spent more time getting the wheels off the lug nuts probably than I did anything. The 4 bolts here that allowed it to drop, like I said, I took the tires off, lowered the machine down on that rigging onto the blocks, then finished taking the 4 bolts out, which allowed me then to fire the backhoe up with the outriggers out. Slowly lifted the backhoe back in the air, which allowed the transmission to stay. Now on the front, the reason you got to be careful is because the drive shaft's still hooked up, and that spins when it runs. I was trying to save myself from doing a lot of extra work if I didn't have to. Believe me, the last thing I wanted to do is spend a lot of time tearing this apart when I didn't know what was wrong. Now that I've done it this way, I'm glad, because I could put all the new parts in, put it right back together without having to have removed the whole rear end. I'm far from a case mechanic. I'm just a small guy running my own little business, my plumbing business and whatnot, and my backhoe is important to me. I paid $12,000 for it 5-6 years ago, and it's already more than paid for itself. If I fix it without spending thousands on mechanics, fine, you know. Like I said, it's just something I'm doing to try to get my machine back together without spending a lot of money. So far it seems to be working out. We're going to go see if we can't find the parts that reasonable. We'll go from there.